The demand for commercial diver training is so high that a course scheduled for late 2026 is already fully booked 2 full months before it even starts, and the following 2027 session is already half full, with more foreign students than Italian. James, this remarkable interest in commercial diving training, particularly at institutions like CEDIFOP in Palermo, suggests a significant shift in the industry. What's driving this surge in demand, and why is Palermo becoming such an international hub for it? It's a clear indicator of the market recognizing top-tier regulated training. The data from CEDIFOP's Commercial Diver, or OTS course, is quite telling. The September to December 2026 intake, course code 2026 AUT003, is completely sold out. Even more strikingly, the February 2027 course is already halfway filled, and we're seeing more international candidates enrolling than Italian ones. This isn't accidental, William. It testifies to the international reputation of CEDIFOP's educational model and the robust regulatory framework in Sicily that protects and enhances these qualifications. So, it's not just about getting a certificate, but about the quality and recognition behind it. Could you elaborate on what makes CEDIFOP's training unique? How does it differentiate itself from other programs that might just offer hours in the water? Certainly. CEDIFOP's training, as outlined in their operational vademecum and governed by Article 2 of their internal regulations, employs a unique methodological and evaluative approach. It's far more than just accumulating dive hours. The practical training is structured around 8 distinct operational types of work, split equally between land and sea. We have 4 wet modules focusing on dives at varying depths and operational contexts, using both scuba systems and surface-supplied diving. Then there are 4 dry modules covering surface management, diver dressing and undressing, control of communications and gas panels, umbilical management, and the crucial role of the emergency or standby diver. That sounds very comprehensive, but what's this revolutionary element in their performance measurement? The idea of a progressive class average for admission to exams seems quite rigorous. It is extremely rigorous, and that's precisely what makes it revolutionary. During every single training session, each student's work and bottom time are meticulously logged in their personal logbook. From this individual data, a progressive class average is calculated for each of the 8 activity types. To qualify for the final exams, Article 2 mandates that a student's individual time must be higher than the class average in at least 6 out of the 8 activity types, with a maximum tolerance of 20%. This prevents students from masking operational gaps, constantly stimulates individual improvement, and provides transparent, verifiable tracking that aligns their preparation with the highest industrial standards. That's a sophisticated way to ensure consistent high standards. Moving to the legal side, how does Sicilian Regional Law 7/2016 and the subsequent DP Reg 31/2018, which established the telematic repository of qualifications, integrate with the new National Law 9/2026? Is there a risk of conflict or overlap between regional and national legislation? There's no conflict at all. It's a perfect functional synergy. Vocational training falls under the exclusive competence of the regions, as per Article 117 of the Italian Constitution. Sicily was a pioneer with its Regional Law 7/2016, establishing the telematic repository and a public register for commercial divers. National Law 9/2026, which came into force on 26th of January 2026, then completed this regulatory framework by establishing the National Agency for the Safety of Underwater Activities, a national register of operators, and a mandatory computerized personal logbook for tracking every dive. National Law 9/2026 sets general safety requirements and defines the rules for digital traceability, while Sicilian Regional Law 7/2016 exercises its constitutional legislative power in vocational training, issuing qualifications through accredited bodies like CEDIFOP. These are official professional qualifications with the legal force of a public act, not just attendance certificates. So the national law handles the overarching safety and digital tracking, while the regional law governs the actual training and qualification process. That seems to create a robust system. How do these qualifications stand up on an international stage, especially with bodies like IDSA and IMCA? They stand up exceptionally well. CEDIFOP is a full-member IDSA school, one of only 16 worldwide and the sole one in Italy. The IDSA equivalence table is crucial here, recognizing qualification levels globally, from harbour diver to inshore diver level 2 and level 3, facilitating cross-border recognition. This aligns perfectly with IMCA, the International Marine Contractors Association, which explicitly recommends training structured according to IDSA levels. A critical point from IMCA is their stance on certificates. They do not recognize those issued directly by private schools, the so-called self-referential certificates. IMCA exclusively recognizes certificates issued or validated by national or regional public authorities within a framework of regulated public training. This creates a clear divide between those with a qualification listed in Sicily's repository and those holding a mere private certificate. That's a huge distinction, and it clearly elevates the value of regulated training. But what about other Italian regions? If they don't have similar specific regulations, are companies and divers operating outside Sicily at a disadvantage, or perhaps a greater risk? They are at a significant risk, both legal and operational. Most other Italian regions currently lack specific regulations for commercial diving training. Many courses offered outside Sicily fall into the category of non-regulated training, meaning they are private courses without inclusion in a public qualification repository recognized by the state or regions. This leads to what I call the deadly paradox of training ambiguity. Divers with non-regulated certificates or basic 1979 ministerial decree registrations, which are legally valid solely within port basins, are often deployed offshore or at great depths under the illusion of being qualified. Unregulated training in high-risk operations at 30, 40 or 50 meters leads directly to fatal accidents. That sounds incredibly dangerous and irresponsible. Are there real-world examples of the consequences of this ambiguity? What kind of liability do employers face in such situations? Unfortunately, there are. A dramatic example is the judicial investigation into the death of Rob Cornelis Huyben, a Dutch diver who lost his life in 2025 off Palermo at 49 meters during a wreck recovery. The Public Prosecutor's Office charged the company's legal representative, site manager and safety manager with manslaughter and safety regulation violations under Legislative Decree 81/2008. The key finding was that the divers and company lacked the minimum regulated training requirements and were not registered in the Sicilian Regional Online Repertory for deep diving. This shows that field experience or corporate reputation can't replace public regulated training, and private certificates carry no legal weight for deep inshore or offshore operations. In criminal trials following fatal accidents, courts verify public repertory registration. Its absence serves as direct evidence of negligence and safety violations. So the consequences are severe, including criminal prosecution. How does Legislative Decree 81/2008, the Consolidated Act on Health and Safety at Work, specifically hold employers accountable in these situations? Under Legislative Decree 81/2008, an employer has a legal duty to assign tasks to workers based on their capabilities and health and safety conditions. Assigning inshore or offshore work to personnel holding only harbour training or non-regulated titles is a criminal offence. Articles 36 and 37 also mandate sufficient and adequate training specific to the equipment and risks. Furthermore, Article 2087 of the Civil Code, relating to culpa in eligendo, states that an employer is criminally liable for negligent selection of personnel not qualified according to public regulations and the state of the art. If an employer uses a diver with non-regulated certification for a 40-meter dive, they face criminal prosecution for manslaughter or severe bodily harm, and their insurance protection is voided, with INAL and private insurers seeking full recourse against the company's assets. That's a sobering reality. It seems clear that regulated training, like that governed by Sicilian Regional Law 7/2016 and integrated with National Law 9/2026, is not just about competence but about legal compliance and, ultimately, saving lives. This convergence of regional and national law, combined with international recognition, provides a robust framework that truly represents the state of the art in commercial diving. Thank you, James, for shedding light on this critical aspect of diver training and safety.
My pleasure, William. It's crucial for both divers and employers to understand these distinctions.
If you found this discussion insightful, consider sharing this episode with someone who needs to understand the complexities of regulated commercial diving training.